Hi guys, welcome back to Headlines Podcast. This is episode 15 of the pod, and today is going to be a more specific episode. It's not just going to be me rambling about all the happenings of my life, but we actually have a solid topic today. You guys actually really love the menstrual cycle episode. I got so many plays on that, so I'm glad that you guys liked it, and I hope that it was really helpful for you guys. So I wanted to make another one kind of about something similar, because with the menstrual cycle episode, that is something that I've struggled with and that I've researched a lot on my own, just because I've personally struggled with that and had issues with it, and I wanted to learn more about it for myself. And this is another thing that I have struggled with in the past and that I'm still working on every single day for myself, and that is everything surrounding gut health, the gut-brain axis, and then more recently I've gotten into stress management and nervous system regulation and stuff of that sort. So it all kind of plays in together, because at least for me, they all kind of intertwine and work together in my body. So hopefully this will be helpful for you guys if any of you guys are experiencing gut health issues, which if you have followed me for a long time, you know about 2 years ago, I started experiencing very, very, very bad gut health issues, extreme bloating, extreme stomach pains, just awful. I would cry every single morning. None of my clothes would fit. I was working out, eating healthy, and I would be bloated literally every single day. There was probably one day a month that my stomach actually felt good. And now about 2 years later, I mostly feel good 90% of the time, and I don't really struggle with bloating anymore. And I think that all these things working together, stress management, nervous system regulation, changes in my wellness habits, changes in my routine have really, really helped to balance out my life, and therefore it balanced out my gut health. It's helped my mentality, my brain, my mental health. I couldn't think of that word, mental health. And so I hope that it helps you guys if any of you guys are struggling with it, whether it's gut health or with mental health. I feel a lot of people are struggling with that stuff at this moment, and a lot of people I feel are struggling with both, like I was. So hopefully this helps you. And again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything about this stuff. This is all just based on my experience personally with it, and then the stuff that I've read, stuff that I've listened to, podcasts I've listened to. I'm going to be quoting Andrew Huberman a lot in one of the sections in here. He has, if you're really interested in this stuff and you want some scientific stuff about it, I really suggest Andrew Huberman's podcast to learn more about this stuff. On he's an actual doctor, he's actually a really, really, really smart person, rather than just me, some random girl, talking about my experience. But he's a great resource, as well as a Skinny Confidential also has a lot of, the podcast has a lot of doctors on to actually talk about it. But I'm just gonna be talking about my experience and hopefully presenting the information that I've gathered in a more relatable way to you guys. Since I'm not a doctor, I'm not some super smart person, I can kind of hopefully convey the information in a way that's more digestible for you guys. But first, of course, we're gonna start off with our State of the Union, and I actually don't have many life updates for you guys, anything crazy going on in my life, but I did want to go through. I wanted to make my State of the Union this week kind of my Trader Joe's favorites, because I've been loving a lot of Trader Joe's products the past couple of weeks. So I want to share them with you guys because I think that they're absolutely necessary for you guys to know. So one, I have talked about it on my other videos before, but I want to put it all in one so you guys can just write down, take notes, and get it on your next Trader Joe's trip, okay? First, you guys, I've been craving these I bought them last Wednesday, and I think about them every single, I think I finished the container on Sunday, and Sunday was yesterday. Jeez, I finished the container on Friday. Oh my God. And I've been thinking about them ever since. And that is the chocolate covered cherries from Trader Joe's. And I don't know why, you guys, I don't know what, I never have thought about chocolate covered cherries before. I have very rarely, if ever, eaten them. And for some reason, I saw them at Trader Joe's, and I felt a spiritual calling to pick these up, and I did, and I will truly never go back. These are my new obsession. They're so delicious. They're in the frozen food section, but where they have all of the chocolate covered almonds, chocolate covered whatever's on the top of the frozen food section. They're right there, and they're one of those things where it's I want to tell you to buy them, but I don't want to tell you to buy them because they're so addicting and delicious that you will never not be able to buy them ever again. But that's literally my favorite thing at the moment. I've been thinking about them all day, every day. I think about them when I wake up. I think about them when I go to sleep. And I just can't wait for Wednesday so I can buy another container. This one's kind of an oldie. I've been buying these for months. The brownie coffee ice cream sandwiches. It's the outside, the sandwich part is it's brownie brittle almost. It's a nice little brownie, and then the inside is coffee ice cream. So freaking good. Honestly, all their ice cream is good, but like that stuff is just like 10 out of 10. And then you guys also know this, but I had to include it in my list, okay? I couldn't just leave it out. The chocolate covered frozen bananas, like the little slices, like, are you fucking kidding me? Those are literally the most delicious things I've ever had. I get them every single week. Like, it's a serious problem. If they ever discontinue those, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with my life. I really don't. But now that the chocolate covered cherries have come into the picture, like they have some competition. Like the chocolate covered cherries and the chocolate covered bananas are like very close, but I feel like the banana ones are like frozen, so they're kind of like a different vibe than the cherries, which are like, you know, room temperature. So those are definitely like two staple desserts that I have in my cart every single Wednesday. This next thing, I've been getting a little crazy, you guys. I did update you guys, I think in my YouTube video, that I was getting a little bit lit last Wednesday. Wine Wednesday, if you will, okay? And I saw these wines. I know nothing about wine, okay? I've had wine like a handful of times in my life, right? But I saw these sparkling canned wines, and I need to get a canned wine because I don't own a wine opener. If you guys saw my old, like a couple months ago in October, I made a video of me like trying wine, and in the video I realized I didn't have a wine opener, and like you need a wine opener to open a bottle of wine, so I don't have a wine opener. So therefore, if I do buy wine, I have to get canned wine. So I found this, there's only like 2 different canned wines at Trader Joe's, but this one canned wine, it was $4.99 for 4 cans of wine, which apparently equal a bottle, like a full bottle of wine. And I was like, that is so inexpensive, whatever. And I went home, I tried the wine. It was honestly phenomenal. I have no complaints. $4.99 for 4 cans of wine? Are you kidding me? Like, that was a great deal. And any other time I have a Wine Wednesday, who knows how frequent that will be, but I will be buying the $4.99 4-pack of canned wine from Trader Joe's, and I think you should try it too. And the last thing, this is actually a little snacky snack, and you guys know I love popcorn. Like popcorn, I buy popcorn every single week. Usually I'll go with like the what's it called? The Lesser Evil popcorn. I'll do like the Skinny Pop popcorn, the Lesser Evil popcorn, even the Whole Foods brand popcorn. I love all popcorns. Like, I like bagged popcorn. I don't really like the pop in the microwave popcorn. I just like it in the bag, okay? And I always would look at the Trader Joe's popcorn, and I'm like, no, like, I don't know, it just didn't look good to me for some reason. Like the Whole Foods ones just looked way more appetizing. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this herbs and spices popcorn a chance. And oh my goodness, when I tell you this popcorn, it's the best popcorn I've ever had in my entire life. And I've tried every single popcorn in the Whole Foods popcorn aisle, okay? And this is 10 times better than any of them. The herbs and spices, write this down, people, herbs and spices popcorn from Trader Joe's. It's so fucking good. So those are my top 5 Trader Joe's faves of the week. So that was our State of the Union of the week. Now let's get into the meat of the episode, shall we? All right, getting into the beef of the episode, I feel like I do need to preface this, if you will, with a little background on me if you haven't been following me for that long. But if you have, then you already know this information. But in approximately the fall of 2021, approximately 2 years ago, at this time 2 years ago, my life kind of went to shambles. I personally blame the Scorpio-Taurus eclipse, but regardless, fall 2021, my life kind of crumbled before me, if you will. And then that summer of 2022, my life really, really started crumbling, and it was really like the climax of it all, okay? And I feel as though lately I have been on the up and up, okay? The past couple months, I've been on the up and up, you know? So I think it was just a little 2-year cycle for me when things got, you know, looking back now, it was just a little 2-year cycle where things got a little bit rough for me, okay? And I was therefore stressed, we shall say, okay? And maybe I didn't realize it in the moment, but now, like, looking back, I think maybe, you know, I was a little bit, okay? And you guys know me, I'm sure you are familiar with my old 3:30 a.m. wake up videos. I've gone through a lot of different phases of life, different habits, different routines that I've done. So I did have my 3:30 a.m. wake ups, which I love that. Like, I love her. Like, I love a good 3:30 a.m. wake up. And around that time in fall 2021, I feel like that's when my digestive issues started. And I was just, my stomach would hurt literally at all times. I would probably have one day a month where my stomach like wasn't bloated or wasn't inflamed or hurting or having stabbing stomach pains. I probably had one good day a month, okay? I would cry every single morning putting on my jeans and my pants for work because they did not fit me because I was so bloated. I was eating extremely healthy, like I was working out every day, and my body was just in shambles, it felt like, and my pants weren't fitting. I was so bloated. I was so uncomfortable. My stomach was just like stabbing pains all day, no matter what I did, no matter what I ate. I was drinking coffee on an empty stomach in the morning. I had a period where I did fasting until noon. And again, like I was figuring stuff out. You know what I mean? Like I was trying new things. I was figuring stuff out. Like no hate to my previous self for doing any of that. But and also I learned so freaking much from doing all of that stuff. You know what I mean? And I used to think like back then, like I was like, oh, I probably have IBS or I have SIBO or something, you know, something like that. Cause my stomach was just, it could not digest anything. No matter what I ate, my stomach would hurt. In that summer of 2021, no, it was actually summer of 2022, I discovered the low FODMAP diet, and that helped me so much for like kind of like a temporary relief of the symptoms I was having. So low FODMAP, I have made videos about it in the past, and I think it is very helpful if you do have SIBO or IBS or something. But now looking back, I don't think that I had SIBO or IBS. I think that I was just stressed and I was just in like a fight or flight state, and I will get more into that in the rest of the episode. But I was eating a lot of like oatmeal, like rice, chicken, like more like bland foods that are easily digestible. And that helped me for a very, very long time. Like when I was eating low FODMAP, my symptoms were like very, very under control, but obviously that's not a like long-term fix to the issue. You know, I knew that I was like, okay, I can't just eat like chicken, rice, and oatmeal and blueberries for the rest of my life. You know, like I have to eventually eat some normal food again. But I didn't know how to. I didn't know what was wrong with me. You know, I was like, well, I don't know the answer, so I'm just gonna keep eating like this because this is the only thing that is providing me like relief at the moment. So anyways, that's kind of what I was dealing with back in like 2021 and then 2022 mostly. And now looking back at it from where I am right now my stomach feels like great, like 99% of the time. Obviously if I eat a huge meal or I go out and I eat, you know, 10 desserts and pizza and you know what I mean? Obviously, like, your stomach is gonna hurt when you eat a big meal or when you eat, like, you know, junk food or something. And that's completely normal, but it's not even close to what I used to deal with. I would literally, like, I remember one morning I ate an apple before I went to the gym, and I couldn't even finish my workout. I had the worst stabbing stomach pains. I was on the floor in my apartment gym, on the floor in stabbing stomach pains because I ate an apple. And like, that's not normal, you know what I mean? But like, I didn't know what was wrong with me. But so knowing where I am at now, actually, I just remembered this. This is how I figured it out, you guys. This is so crazy. Okay, so this is when things like started clicking for me about like the high cortisol and the stress and like the nervous system regulation stuff. This is when it all started clicking. So back in March of this year, I went out for St. Patrick's Day, and I was like drinking alcohol, and like I usually only drink like once a quarter, probably like 4 or 5 times a year maybe I drink. I just remember like usually like the day after drinking, like you feel like shit, you know, like you're hungover and stuff. I've never been hungover, but like usually like you don't feel really great the day after drinking. And obviously like I'm sure like I was eating like bad food or whatever, like I was eating like, you know, inflammatory food or whatever, food that would make my stomach upset. And I remember I woke up the next morning and my stomach was so flat. And at that time I was still having like pretty frequent bloating. Like I had like maybe, you know, one day every 2 weeks that I was feeling like good, like my stomach wasn't bloated. And I woke up that morning, the next morning after going out and drinking and, you know, eating, you know, bad food that would make my stomach hurt. And I also slept in that day. That's the other thing. I slept in because like on the weekends, I would sleep in. And then during the week, I would be waking up at 3:30, 4 a.m. And on the weekends, I would sleep in. And I wake up that next morning and I'm like, my stomach is so flat. I'm like, I'm not bloated at all. Like I look amazing. Like I look so good. Like my abs, like, oh my God. And I was like, that is so weird. Like I didn't eat that healthy yesterday and I drink. And I'm like, if anything, I should be feeling, you know, inflamed and like not good right now. You know what I mean? And that's when shit started clicking for me because I was like, wait, like I am always less bloated on the weekends. Like I always wake up with like, you know, like morning skinny. Like I never had that. Like I was bloated. Like I would wake up bloated. Nothing better than waking up bloated. I would wake up bloated like most mornings. Like I never had that morning skinny thing except on the weekends. Like if I ever had like a good stomach day, it would be on the weekend. And what do you know? On the weekend, I was sleeping in. I, you know, wasn't, you know, working out. I didn't have stress. I wasn't stressing to like go to the gym, you know, get ready for work, go to work. You know, I had less stress on the weekends and I was getting more sleep. And after that day, when I came back after St. Patrick's Day, that is when I was like, whoa. Like, I think I'm onto something. Like, I think that it has to do with like cortisol, like stress. And I started like looking into it, whatever, but I like wasn't really ready to like give up my like 3:30 a.m. morning routine because I still like I miss it. Like I miss it still. Like I love doing it. But then it was in July where I was like, okay, like I remember, you guys, I got to like I think I was just literally in fight or flight at all times. And I got to a place in July where I was waking up I was still filming my morning. Every morning I would wake up and film for almost a year straight. Every morning, wake up, film my morning routine, post it that same day. And I love doing it. Like that's my TikTok. That's how my TikTok, blew up and everything. Like I had to go through that time in my life to get where I am today. You know what I mean? But I just got to a point in July where I woke up one day and I think I was just because this is when I started getting more brand deals. Like I had to, I was getting emails from brands. There was I just got so overwhelmed and stressed. And I remember I woke up one day in July and I went to the kitchen, set up my phone to record, and I just started crying. At 3:30 in the morning in my own kitchen, I had just woken up 5 minutes ago and I'm crying because I was like, I can't like effing do this anymore. Like I can't do this. I was under just so much stress. And that's when in July I decided to stop. Oh, no, yeah. So my timeline might have been a little bit messed up, but you guys don't care. It's fine. I remember one day I realized that I was so stressed, and that's when I stopped filming my morning routines every morning. Was when I woke up and I started crying because I was so like overwhelmed and stressed. And I was like, okay, I need to stop filming every single morning. Like I should not be waking up and crying, whatever. So I stopped filming every morning, but I was still waking up at 3:30 a.m. And then it was in July when I went to the Drake concert. And I remember I went to the Drake concert and it was on a Sunday night. So I had work the next day and me being my crazy self, okay, I got home at like midnight and I still woke up at 3:30. I genuinely love waking up at 3:30, okay? I still woke up at 3:30 and I went to the freaking gym. And doing that, after that day when I woke up, like I got so much acne that day and I was like, oh my God. And that was like my second wind of like, whoa, okay, what am I doing? I was like, okay, I didn't get a lot of sleep that night and now I'm breaking out a bunch. And I'm like, okay, this is all making sense in my head. I'm like, okay, when I get more sleep, I wake up and I feel like, my stomach is flat. Like my digestion is good. And like, even like on the weekends, like when I would wake up after a good night of 8 hours of sleep, and I'd wake up, like, all my food would digest normal. I wouldn't get bloated for nothing. Like, my digestion was better when I was sleeping more. And then with the Drake concert thing, I realized I was getting acne when I didn't sleep enough. Like, I only slept, like, 3 or 4 hours at night. So I was getting acne. And I was like, okay, this is all connected. I'm like, so when I don't sleep enough, my digestion gets thrown off, and then I get acne. And that's when I started getting into I was like, okay, like my cortisol is high. I was like, okay, like I am stressed out. Like, and I didn't realize I was stressed out because I'm not like a stressed, like negative person. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, like I'm so stressed. Like I'm always very like chill and like relaxed usually. So I was like, no, like I'm not stressed. Like I don't feel stressed. Like nothing in my life is stressing me out, but I think like in my nervous system, I was stressed. Like outwardly, like in my brain, I wasn't stressed, but I think that my nervous system was like stressed. And that's when it really all started connecting to me. And like, I think that waking up at 3:30 a.m. is like fine, but I was getting to the point, like there was a point when I was waking up at 3:30 a.m. that I was getting 8 hours of sleep and I wasn't stressed. Back when I wasn't recording for TikTok, I didn't have to come home from work and do emails and do brand deals and, all this stuff. Like back when I first started waking up at 3:30 a.m., it was like so peaceful to me because I would wake up, I would journal, I would read, meditate. Like it was so nice. And I was getting, 7-8 hours of sleep and I wasn't recording every morning and worrying about editing a video. Oh my God, I need to get this clip. And then I would come home from work and I didn't have to do emails and do brand deals. And then on the weekends, I would have to film my podcast and do more emails and stuff. And I didn't have all those external stressors at that time when I first started doing 3:30 a.m. wake ups in about 2021 when I started my full-time job. So it was a great system for me and it was a very enjoyable lifestyle for me for, a time being. And then once my TikTok started happening, I was recording, I had all these other things that started coming into my life, relationships, social outings. It just became I was getting less and less sleep. I was getting more and more stressed out. Like I was only getting 6 hours of sleep on some nights because of all these external things that came into my life. Because obviously life changes, you know, you have different priorities at different times, which is fine. And that's why I changed my routine, because my life changed with TikTok and stuff. And it caused me to need to reprioritize some things for myself, and which is totally fine. So I do think that the 3:30 a.m. thing was great if I was still living that life that I was living in 2021, but I'm obviously not now, and that's why I needed to adjust it. So in July is when I realized that I think I have high cortisol, and obviously like a huge thing with your stress is like if you Google like how to naturally get rid of stress, it's like sleep, girl, sleep. And that is when I was like, okay, like I am, as hard as it was for me, like at first I stopped recording every morning, and now I'm stopping waking up at 3:30 a.m. and like that was like my whole brand on TikTok at the time, you know, and it was so tough for me, not only because of my TikTok, but just because of me. Like I'm such like a hard-headed, stubborn, disciplined person that I did not want to stop doing that. But I was like, this is like really affecting my health. Like it's giving me acne, it's making me bloated, like who knows what else it's affecting in my body that I can't even see yet, you know? And I was like, I need to stop this. And that is when I decided to start waking up at 5 a.m. and really, really prioritizing my sleep, prioritizing stress management, prioritizing just, I was prioritizing productivity and like girl bossing, as I would call it back then, like for so long. And like, again, if I hadn't done that, I would not be where I am today. I would not have this apartment. You know what I mean? I love, like, you're going to go through times where you're grinding, you know, and then you're going to go through times when you're not. And you have to have those periods of grinding and working hard and like proving to yourself how strong you are and that you can, because if I hadn't have gone through that, if I didn't make myself wake up at 3:30 a.m. every day, go to the gym, read, you know, meditate, whatever, all those things, like I would not know how strong I am as a person. I would not have the willpower that I have. I would not have the strength that I have. So like you need to go through those times of like grinding and like working hard and pushing yourself and like seeing how much you can do and seeing how strong you are in order to have this time now where I'm at right now, where I can kind of take a step back and relax. You know, I'm not working my 9 to 5 anymore. I, you know, started waking up later. I can get more sleep now, but I would not be here today if it wasn't for that grind that I was on for those 2 years. Anyways, wow, that was a very long description of, I did not know I was going to go off like that about like, you know, my journey, but it really was like, when I look back at it now, like it was such a journey of learning. But now that I am in this situation right now where I can kind of step back and learn to manage my stress and kind of relax more, I guess all in all what I'm trying to say is I think that my body was in fight or flight and like was internally stressed for those 2 years. And I think that that is what had given me the digestive issues. I don't think it was SIBO or IBS or anything like that. I think it was stress. So what I want to get into in this episode is how the gut and brain are connected, which is kind of my first little lesson that I learned about last year. And then more recently, I have learned about the nervous system and how to regulate the nervous system and how to decrease stress in the body and just how it all works together, your brain and your gut and how they work together. So let's get into that. So some things that I want to define 3 words before I get into the episode. First is the gut-brain axis. And this, you can Google it, of course, for more information. I am not an expert by any means. This is just my experience, what I've learned. But the gut and the brain are connected. And to give you some examples of this is when you get butterflies in your stomach, when you're nervous, right? Your stomach starts to feel like butterfly-y, but really it's a response from your brain because you're feeling nervous or anxious and you feel that feeling in your stomach, which when you think about it like that, it's pretty crazy, right? Or like if you feel sick to your stomach, you know, you hear bad news, makes you sick to your stomach. Or say when you break up with your boyfriend and you can't eat after you broke up with your boyfriend, like you have no appetite when you're like sad or anxious. Or some people are the opposite. When they're really stressed out or when they're anxious, that's me, definitely. I'm definitely a anxious eater. When I'm feeling anxious or feeling sad, I eat. Like you get cravings when you're sad or anxious. Or some people get no appetite when they're anxious or when they're sad. And those are all those gut-brain axis responses. And also what I would realize is that when my stomach would hurt, like back when I was having really bad digestive issues, when my stomach would hurt, it would affect my brain. I would get brain fog. I would get anxious. I would get like moody. Like I would snap at people, you know, like I would be very unpredictable with like my mood. And like when my stomach felt good which was very rarely, but when it felt good, I was so happy. I could focus. I was, just in a better mood when my stomach wasn't, backed up or wasn't bloated. And that's when I really, really realized that your brain and your gut are connected, and a healthy gut is a healthy brain, and a healthy brain is a healthy gut. The next thing I wanted to find is the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. So your parasympathetic nervous system is going to be your rest and digest mode, which is like when you're feeling relaxed. Like when you're relaxed, you're chilling, you're in your parasympathetic nervous system. And your sympathetic nervous system is going to be your fight or flight. Like that's what activates when you're in fight or flight or when you're stressed. So you can remember it: stressed, sympathetic, and then parasympathetic is your relaxed one. And obviously we don't want to be stressed all the time, right? So we want to be in that parasympathetic nervous system state. We want that nervous system to be activated most of the time, unless we are in a stressful situation, like we're getting chased by a bear, like something like that, like we're actually in danger or we're actually stressed. Like if we procrastinated something, that's when we want our sympathetic nervous system to kick on, because it does have a purpose. It's not just a negative. It's not just, stress and it's negative. The sympathetic nervous system is going to give you like that adrenaline and that push. Like that's why people procrastinate, because when you procrastinate so much, then like when you're like, your paper's due in 2 hours and you have to get it done, your sympathetic nervous system will kick in, giving you that adrenaline, giving you that motivation to get it done and get it done quick. So there is a purpose for the sympathetic nervous system, and that is to make you do things, make you run, make you take action, fight or flight, make you fight, make you flight, But a lot of us are living in our sympathetic nervous system with that nervous system switched on instead of the parasympathetic. And that's why a lot of people are very irritable, or, you get road rage, or little things will like tick you off. Like, it's like, when you're having a bad day and then one little thing happens and you're just like, that's it. Like, I'm done. Like those little tiny things can like tick you off so much. It's because you're probably in your sympathetic nervous system instead of your parasympathetic. So I think that, when I was doing all of like when I was fasting until noon, when I was drinking coffee on an empty stomach, which is very, very bad for you, not getting enough sleep, having all of these stressors in my life, I think that I was in fight or flight and I was in my sympathetic nervous system. And I think that is why my stomach was so messed up, because of the gut-brain axis. Your brain and your gut are, working together. They're connected. And I think that was affecting my gut health, and vice versa. My gut health was then affecting, my mental health. And it just all, now looking back at it, now that I'm at a better state, it all makes so much sense. And I realize now, with, I spent about a month of not having my 9-to-5 job, and I'm kind of, the past 2 years have been so go for me, like working so hard, disciplined, routines, like everything like that. And now that I have kind of been able to let go, I can kind of, do whatever I want now. I don't have any, I don't have to go to work. I don't have to be up at 5 a.m. every day. I don't have to do my Sunday reset, those things. I'm really trying to, and I've talked about in previous podcasts, I'm sure you guys know this, like if you've listened to my previous podcast, but like, I found it very difficult to relearn how to enjoy my life, because for the past 2 years, honestly, since COVID, like COVID really made me very comfortable with being alone, being at home, not doing anything, not having social plans, because we weren't allowed to, and I loved that. I was eating that up. I loved COVID. I loved the lockdown because I loved doing nothing. And I think I never really, and then right after COVID, I started my full-time job. And I never really got that time to really learn how to enjoy my life again. I was just so structured, routine, and go, and disciplined that I never enjoyed my life. And now that I am kind of out of that era of my life, I find it very difficult now to let go of my routine and go out and do things, stay up past my bedtime, do things out of that I wouldn't usually do. Because I literally was doing that routine for 2 years, every single day. Even when I went to the Drake concert, like I was so stressed out about going to the Drake concert on a Sunday, and like I still did my routine the next day. Like that's how just like disciplined I was at doing this, and like I did not want to miss a day. I'm finding it super hard now to go out and do things, and like literally, like I was thinking to myself when I was driving to the gym the other day, I kind of opened up about this in my last YouTube video, my like gym vlog, like I was like, oh my god, like it's Friday and I'm off my laundry schedule, and I'm like, dude, your laundry schedule? I'm like, what's gonna happen if you don't wash your towels today? Literally, what's gonna happen? Nothing. But I was like I was getting anxious because I was off my laundry schedule because, with work and stuff, I had to wash my clothes on a certain day or else I wouldn't have clothes to wear to work the next week. I had to wash all my workout stuff on a certain day. I had to wash my towels on a certain day because I worked the rest of the week. I had to get all my cleaning done on Sunday because I worked the rest of the week. I worked Monday through Friday. I've been really trying to get out of my comfort zone and go and do things. Like my friend has been having like hockey games on Sunday nights, which is something I would never even fathom doing in my previous life. Like if anyone wanted to do something with me on a Sunday, I was like, absolutely not. I need to meal prep. I need to do my Sunday reset. I need to vacuum. I need to clean, like I need to do my dishes. And every time that I do something out of the ordinary, like I go out to eat, or maybe I stay up a little bit later, or I sleep in until 7, it gives me like so much anxiety, even though nothing is wrong with me going out to eat, or like if I drink one night or something, or if I stay out late, like there is no like repercussion to that. Like I'm fine, like there's nothing wrong with that, but I still have this like inner anxiety in me. So I've been really working on that this past month just to kind of get more comfortable with doing stuff that's out of my routine, because I just think I was in a routine for so long, and it really, now like thinking of doing anything outside of it really gives me like anxiety. So I've been kind of dealing with that recently. I'm like relearning how to like relax, and I'm trying to just live more in that parasympathetic nervous system, which I think I've honestly been doing a really like good job of. And a lot of the habits that I've been implementing have been really, really helping so much with that. And that is kind of what I wanted to share with you guys today. If you have been going through any of this stuff, either, your gut health problems, mental health things. I'm sure you guys know this if you listen to my podcast or any of my videos before, but I've been going through a lot of mental health struggles as well. I feel like with all of that, the past 2 years came a lot of anxiety, sadness, negative thinking. Again, I was crying almost daily for a really long time, really like sad thoughts. I wasn't having any like social time. It was literally just I was by myself all the time, living alone. I was by myself. I was just in my routine. I had no like social life. And that also snowballed into me having, some very like negative thoughts and very like hopeless thoughts that I had going on. So it all kind of intertwined for me. These past 2 years have just been so transformative for me, and I feel like I just learned so much, and that's what I want to share with you guys today. So I want to share with you guys some of the habits and things that I know and that I do, that hopefully if you are living in that state where you're having stomach problems, or you do feel stressed, or you feel like you're in fight or flight, like you're stressed all the time, these habits hopefully can help you bring back your parasympathetic nervous system, which if you're having stomach problems, it could help your stomach problems, or it would just make you feel better like as a human being and just live a happier life with less anxiety, less sadness, and just hopefully a happier life. So I'm going to share with you guys some of those habits. I think that the first thing and the biggest thing, and this is so on brand for me, this is why I'm laughing at it, is 1000% if you don't have a morning routine or a night routine, please, please, please make one. Please make one. I don't care if it takes you 5 minutes or if it's like mine and it's like 3 hours, okay? Please try to make a morning and or a night routine. This is something I used to not have a night routine at all, and now I've really cultivated a really good night routine for myself, and it slays so hard, you guys. If you're waking up in the morning and just like waking up, 30 minutes before you have to leave, oh my God, like wake up, snooze my alarm, like get dressed, brush my teeth, like quickly pack a lunch. You haven't even had one like peaceful thought yet, and you're already just like inserting yourself into driving to work and sitting in traffic, road rage, and then you're going to work, dealing with stressful things at work. Like that is no freaking way to live at all. Like that is no way to live. And that is why when I started my full-time job, when I started working 9 to 5 and I had like my first week at my job, I was like, whoa. I was like, this is literally like, this lifestyle is literally gonna chew me up and spit me out. Like if I don't like protect myself with a routine, and if I don't like initiate a good routine for myself. And that is when I started doing the 3:30 a.m. because I needed that time for myself in the morning to just feel like a real human being. Like when there has been a couple of days where like I remember once like I was sick and I decided to sleep in until like 6 or 7 or whatever and then go to work. I like didn't even register that I was like alive. When I woke up late and like I didn't do my routine, like I didn't even register that like the day was happening. And I felt like so out of body the whole day. So please make a morning routine if you don't have one, even if it's just 10 minutes. Like I know not everyone has a ton of time. You have kids, you have whatever, you know, maybe you go into work at like 6 in the morning. Everyone has different lifestyles, but please just do something, one thing for yourself at least in the morning that makes you feel good, that makes you feel like a human being, that nurtures your body, that sets you up for a good day. One good thing for yourself. And if you need some ideas, I have my last podcast episode was all about my morning routine habits. So you can go and listen to that if that'll help you. But please, if you can make like a big old morning routine for yourself and have the discipline to stick with it, like it's literally the best thing you will ever do for yourself. It's literally incredible magic a morning routine is, I swear, and a night routine. Next things are all like very obvious, but I figured I will just say them. Obviously, working out, duh, that is going to reduce stress, gonna make you healthy, you know, duh, I don't have to explain that. Working out is obviously essential whenever you can fit it in. Morning, night, 3 times a week, 7 days a week, walking, running, lifting, dancing, taekwondo, whatever it is, whatever it is. If it's a Pilates mat class on your floor for 20 minutes, if it's stretching, if it's yoga, do something, create a routine of something that is obviously going to help you so much. I like don't even know what my life would be without exercise and movement because I've been doing like daily exercise for like 6 or 7 years now. So like, I don't even know what I would be without it. The next thing, which is something that it seems very obvious, but I just learned this, you know, this year, but sleeping well and sleeping enough and sleeping good is of course essential to stress. It's like the number one thing that you can do for stress, which I feel like a lot of people like myself tend to neglect when we get stressed. Like when I started getting more stressed with TikTok and everything like that, like back in earlier this year, that's the first thing that I put out. I was like, oh, like I'll just stay up later or I'll wake up earlier to get this stuff done. And then I was, you know, restricting my sleep, not getting enough sleep, and then therefore made myself more stressed. Some other things that have really helped me as well are, I talk about this in literally every video, but journaling this is mostly, obviously this isn't really for my, you know, gut health so much, but for my freaking mental health, my negative thoughts I was having, my crying every day, journaling has helped me so much. And I know it's for some reason so hard to start. Even for me, it's so hard to start journaling and like stay consistent with it. But every morning I've been writing down gratitude for about 2 months now, and my mental health has done a complete 180. I write down gratitude, I write down affirmations and goals every day. And if I need to like write down like some experience I'm having or like, you know, just kind of like write down like a stream of consciousness, I'll do that as well. But this has helped my mental health so much. I was so sad and crying and like not doing well mentally and just literally crying every day for a long time. And ever since I started journaling every day and writing down gratitude in the morning, I rarely cry. I've cried. You guys know I did No Cry October. I think I've cried since October 1st. I've cried maybe 4 times, which is like phenomenal for me. And I've been journaling ever since then too. So if you're having mental health issues, I would definitely recommend journaling. And that's part of my morning routine as well. I do it every single morning. And then along with that, I also love reading in the morning. And I find it as like a little like bit of like a source of meditation because I usually will read fiction in the morning, and it just kind of like takes me away from my real life for a second, like, you know, for 30 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever. And it just allows me to like disconnect from everything that I'm thinking about or worrying about or whatever, and just like live a different life. And I love that feeling in the morning, and it just makes me feel so good. And like I would notice when I had my 9 to 5, I realized like the mornings that I took time to read in the morning, I had a way better day, was in a way better mood than on the days that I didn't take time to read. So if you can incorporate that, I know that's kind of tough to incorporate reading in the morning, but whenever you can incorporate reading, if it is something you enjoyed, I enjoy doing it very much. Everyone's different, obviously, but if it is something that you enjoy reading, I do have to force myself a lot. Like, okay, Taylor, put your freaking phone down and grab your book. Put your phone down, like I have to force myself a lot, but it's truly like so worth it. And it's just like a nice, relaxing activity to do, whether you do it morning or night. And the next thing is meditation. I used to do this a lot. Like I would meditate like 15, 20 minutes a day back in 2021. And then I kind of fell off of it this past year, but this is something that I've reincorporated into my routine now that I'm not working a 9 to 5 and I kind of have more time to like kind of be with myself, you know. And I do think it's a very valuable tool, just like sitting with yourself for like I usually do it when I'm doing my red light mask in the morning. I'll do my Wim Hof breathing, my breathing exercises, which I'll talk about in a second, and my red light. And then once I'm done with my breathing exercises, I'll use the rest of the time and just like sit there like with my thoughts. I also just feel like it gives me like a creative surge. Like it gives me like a surge of ideas. Like I'll think of stuff that I haven't thought of before. So I really like it for that purpose as well. Now let's talk about breathing exercises. So I usually do the Wim Hof breathing video. It's a 12-minute video on YouTube, and I actually was listening to Andrew Huberman's podcast today, and I do want to tell you guys what episode it was just in case you want more, because I'm sure you guys all know Andrew Huberman by now, but he's like a legit like doctor. He's a professor. Like he's like a very smart person, more than, you know, me, some random girl in her living room right now. But he's like a legit like scientist, whatever. And he has a lot of like science-based podcasts about stuff like this, like stress, mental health, like wellness, like all that type of stuff. So this is from his episode, March 2021. It's called Tools for Managing Stress and Anxiety. He has the video version on his YouTube, and I took some notes from this, and I just wanted to kind of share it with you guys, just to kind of share it. Maybe you're not into like his, cause his episodes are very like sciencey. Like he talks about like, you know, like, I don't know, like, so I don't know anything about science, but like sciencey stuff. So hopefully I can kind of regurgitate his information in maybe a way that's more like relatable or understandable for you guys. So I like the Wim Hof breathing personally. So I do it every single morning. Right when I wake up, I'm still in bed, I do it. And this truly, like, it changes the way that my day goes. Like when I feel like I cannot start my day before I do my Wim Hof breathing. And at first, like, I like shrugged it off so hard. I was like, oh, breathing exercises. I was like, whatever, like that's not gonna make a difference. It does. Like this is like I have to do it before I start my day. So I put my red light mask on and I do the Wim Hof breathing. It like energizes your body for the day. Like I don't even know how to describe it. It just makes you feel so freaking good. So if you haven't tried that before, really easy, 10 minutes of your morning to incorporate. But Andrew Huberman was actually he talked about Wim Hof in this episode, and I wanted to give you guys some more information that I like got from that episode, because I kind of didn't like realize it fully, like what it was doing. But he was saying how the Wim Hof breathing technique, like you do like a bunch of like, he called it like you forcefully like make yourself hyperventilate, like you go like you like make yourself hyperventilate. And he was like, well, how is that relaxing? You know, like how is that gonna reduce your stress levels, whatever. And he said it actually puts your body into stress. And then after you do the hyperventilation thing that he said, like you hold your breath for like a minute or a minute and a half, which again, like puts your, you know, it's kind of like, it's stressful for your body. But he said it's literally like the same thing as like a cold shower. So like when you put yourself in a cold shower, which I feel like is very popular as of lately, is like the cold plunge or the cold shower, you're putting your body in a state of stress. And I didn't really think about it like that at first, but now it like makes a lot of sense. Wim Hof has said that his like breathing method helps your immunity, or helps you like fight infection. And I obviously never understood how that worked because I'm a random girl, not a scientist, okay? But Andrew Huberman explained it really good. So he was saying that when you're going into a cold plunge, let's say, or a cold shower, or when you're breathing really fast in and out and then holding your breath, you're putting yourself purposefully in that sympathetic nervous system, or that state of fight or flight, and your body is releasing adrenaline. So when your body releases that adrenaline, it can help combat infection and it boosts your immunity. I don't know how, okay? I don't know how. Andrew Huberman probably does, but I don't know how, but I just know that that's what he said, okay? He also talked about something called a physiological sigh. And if you're watching on YouTube, I am gonna be looking at my little note sheet, so just don't mind me. I don't wanna say anything wrong. And I just learned this information today when I was listening to his podcast. He said in order to calm down, like obviously people like when they're stressed, they're like, okay, like breathe. You know, you hear that all the time, breathe when you're like stressed or anxious. He said in order to calm down, you want to make your exhales more vigorous than your inhales. And that's what's called a physiological sigh. And this is so weird because it kind of connects to Kendall, who is like one of the Peloton instructors that I used to do at my old gym when I would do the Peloton. At the end of her classes, she would always say double inhale and then exhale. Like take 2 inhales and then exhale. And I was like, I didn't get it. I was like, well, why are we doing this? Whatever, I don't get why we're doing that. And Andrew Huberman kind of described it. So he said that when you exhale, your heart like shrinks a little bit. So when your heart shrinks, your blood is gonna start pumping faster because it has less room to pump. So when you exhale, your heart shrinks and your blood starts pumping faster. So when your heart constricts and your blood starts pumping faster, it's gonna send a signal to your parasympathetic, or your rest and digest nervous system, and say, hey, like slow the heart down. It's pumping the blood really fast. We need to slow the heart rate down. And that in turn, obviously we know when your heart rate slows down, then you calm down. You know, when your heart rate is fast, you're stressed. But when your heart rate slows down, you're calm. So doing that thing, like when you go like inhale, and then a big long exhale, that's going to help slow your heart down almost like immediately. Like it'll provide like immediate relief to you. And I also think this is another thing with the Wim Hof, like after you do like your breathing, if you've ever done it before, you know what I'm talking about, but after you do your breathing, he makes you exhale fully and then you hold your breath. Because I was always confused. I was like, what's the difference between like exhaling and holding your breath and inhaling and then holding your breath? But I think that that's why Wim Hof has you exhale and hold your breath, because your heart is, you know, shrinking, blood's pumping faster, and it makes your heart slow down, which is so interesting. I'm like learning all this stuff. And Andrew Huberman also explained how your lungs are filled with these little sacs. Like they're not just like two big like lungs. They have like tiny little sacs inside of them. He said that when your body is stressed, you can tend to hold on to more carbon dioxide, and that carbon dioxide will get trapped in those like tiny little sacs. So doing the double inhale and then a big exhale can help remove the carbon dioxide from your lungs like better and just get rid of it more. And that's what Kendall was talking about when we would do Peloton. I remember she would say that. She would say like, get all that carbon dioxide out. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but that's what she was doing. Double inhale, big exhale is going to remove all of that excess carbon dioxide out of your lungs that regular breathing just like wouldn't usually do. And Andrew Huberman also said like when your body is holding on to like excess carbon dioxide, it'll make you like even more stressed. Like that can cause your body even more stress. So you want to get that carbon dioxide out of your lungs. So basically, with all that being said, breathing exercises are also really great. And Andrew Huberman was describing them in his podcast. It's like instant, you know, obviously like working out and eating healthy, like those aren't going to be like instant results for your stress levels. Because he was just talking about how like, you know, you can eat healthy and you can work out, but at the end of the day, like life happens, and like you need to have some ways like where like in the moment you can like control your stress levels when stuff does come up. And he said that breathing is like the best way to do that. So I do the Wim Hof breathing every single morning, which I feel like starts my day off. That's kind of one of those like long-term habits that, you know, benefit you over the long term, like eating healthy and working out. And then, but he did say like, if you are in a moment of stress, you know, life happens, like something happens or work happens, whatever, you can do those physiological sighs, and that will provide like instant relief to your stress, and it will instantly calm your body down. So those double inhales and then a big exhale can be really helpful for in the moment stress and anxiety. Okay, that's the end of my science portion. I swear I won't mention anything sciencey from now on. This next one is fairly obvious, but of course, having a balanced diet, eating healthy is going to drastically improve literally everything, but you know, your anxiety and your stress levels as well. Eating, you know, a healthy, like whole food diet, not a lot of processed food, stuff like that. Watching your caffeine intake, watching your alcohol intake. Obviously, caffeine and alcohol are not good for stress and anxiety. Two other things that I have noticed so personally is I try to not go to sleep with like a full stomach, because I think I might have mentioned this in a podcast before, but your digestive system actually uses a ton of your energy. So that is why after you eat like a big meal, you will feel like tired. You know, you feel tired after a big meal. You feel really tired after like a big pasta dinner, because your body is using all of your energy to digest that food. So if you eat a really big meal and then go to bed before the meal is digested, like while it's still in your stomach, that whole time while you're sleeping, those 8 hours while you're sleeping, say like 4 or 5 hours of that is going to be dedicated to digesting your food. So while you're sleeping and you're supposed to be, you know, recovering and like rejuvenating from the day and like resting in order to wake up tomorrow feeling good, your body is using so much energy when you're supposed to be resting to digest that food. So then you're going to wake up the next day and not feel as well rested, because half of your sleep, your body was still working. You might have been sleeping, but your digestive system wasn't sleeping. It was still working to digest that food. Another thing I feel like helps me a lot is chewing my food more, which I am like so guilty of, just like inhaling my food, like eating so fast. Like I would just eat so fast. When you're eating fast like that and you're not chewing up your food, and you're like, say like, it sounds weird, but like swallowing like larger chunks of food, like your food isn't chewed up as much. And those larger chunks of food are going into your stomach, and your stomach is like, whoa, why aren't you chewed up? Like we're not supposed to digest a big chunk of food like that. And it's going to take even longer and even more energy and even more work for your body to digest those big chunks of food versus if you had just chewed it fully and you chewed it to the point, because we chew food for a reason. We chew it so it can go down and our body can digest it easily because it's already chewed up and it's already like, you know, in like a little mush, if you will. So when you're eating really fast and you're not chewing your food as well, you're throwing a bunch of big chunks down into your digestive system and your body's like, whoa, 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 like now I have to work to not only digest the food that you just ate, but break it down because you didn't chew it. So I've been really trying to work on that a lot, is chewing my food more, and I feel like it really helps with my digestion, and just it will help your digestion go faster. It'll give you less bloating, less gas, all that stuff. So chew your food. If you have issues with that, definitely try to chew your food more. Next thing that I do that I feel like helps my, you know, stress, anxiety levels and stuff, and also my gut health, are my morning and my nighttime mocktails, as well as drinking tea. Or I just made a video actually on TikTok of all my fun little beverages that I make that aren't coffee, that are actually really good for you. And I feel like these beverages really, really help my morning routine, my night routine, and just adding these little beverages in with like little health benefits, I feel like are just so, they're like fun, but they're like really helpful and beneficial as well. Oh, I also want to talk about, I do take a probiotic, which I feel has helped a lot. I take the Seed probiotic every single day. I do have a code Taylor25 for 25% off of Seed, which is a really great deal. But I do take a probiotic every day, and I feel like that has also helped me along with all these other habits. Like, it's not just like one specific thing that has helped me, but it's like a combination of everything that has really helped me. But I do take a probiotic. I did want to say that because I do feel like it is like, it helps me a lot, and it is like very essential for like the way I feel, like mentally and like in my gut. So the little morning mocktails and nighttime mocktails that I drink are, in the morning, I have coconut water, aloe vera juice, and lemon. And of course, I think we all know the benefits of that stuff, but coconut water has a ton of like minerals, and it's very, very hydrating, and it has electrolytes in it. So that's gonna be a great way to start the day. The aloe vera juice is really great for your gut health. And then the lemon, of course, has electrolytes, minerals, and it also hydrates you. So I drink that every single morning, and I feel like that's a really big staple in my morning routine, and also in like my gut health routine. And then at night, I've been loving doing this. I make a little tart cherry juice mocktail. So I use my unflavored magnesium powder, which I'll talk about magnesium in a second, but I use my unflavored magnesium powder from Recess, some like either like plain water, or you can do coconut water or sparkling water, and then tart cherry juice. And tart cherry juice is actually a natural melatonin, and it actually helps with workout recovery as well, which I learned. It's a natural melatonin, and it's gonna just like relax your body and just make you like feel good and like ready for bed. So I've been drinking that at night, and I've been really loving that as well. I personally take magnesium every single night, and I feel like it's helped me a lot. I take the Recess magnesium, and magnesium is kind of meant to like de-stress your body like from the inside out. Like, it relaxes your body. It's also said to help with anxiety, so that could be something that you look into as well. I feel like it's helped me a lot. I always like, if I ever like miss a day or two of taking it, I'm like, wait, like I feel off, and I'm like, haven't been taking my magnesium. And the last thing I've been trying to do to help my stress and anxiety levels has been exposure therapy, which is quite difficult. I'm sure we all know what exposure therapy is, but I've just been trying to put myself, even though I don't want to, put myself in situations where like it's not part of my routine and it's not something I'm used to, and like I'm kind of stressed about it. Like I'm like, oh my God, like I'm going out and da-da-da-da, like I'm gonna go to bed later, whatever. Like putting myself in those situations that I haven't put myself in since I was like in college, like before COVID, like putting myself back in those situations so I can learn firsthand how to manage my stress in those situations and how to get used to going out and get used to doing that stuff again, because I am very much not used to it. And I've been really, really trying weekly to get out of my comfort zone and to do those things. And it is like really hard sometimes because it does give me like so much anxiety, and it like makes me very upset in the moment. But I'm hoping that the more I do it, the better I'll get at it. And eventually doing those things and like getting out of my routine and stuff won't make me as anxious as it does. That is everything. This is such a long episode, I feel like, but I hope that that helps you guys just kind of learn like my backstory and like my experience on like gut health, the gut-brain axis, like stress management, all of that stuff, because it really has been like, I feel like my whole life, like for the past 2 years, was like learning all of this and like readjusting my lifestyle to learn this stuff. And so I hope that it could help you. And yeah, I think that that's it for the podcast. Again, as always, I appreciate you guys so much, whether you're watching this on YouTube, listening on Spotify or Apple. I appreciate you so much for connecting with me through this podcast on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, everything. I literally would be nothing without you guys. I would have no purpose in life. So thank you so much for supporting me on all of these different platforms and for listening. And I literally love you so much, and I appreciate you so much. And I will see you guys later. Bye.